So please join me while we pledge allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chapter 108 of the Town Code to permit craft breweries, distilleries, wineries, and food manufacturing facilities as general commercial uses and provides some amendments to the code with regard to parking for those facilities. A copy of said local law shall be posted on the town's website and will be available for inspection at the office of the town clerk during normal business hours. Any person desiring to be heard on the adoption of said local law shall be given an opportunity to do so at said public hearing. Dated August 8th, 2017, Hyde Park, New York, Donna McGrogan, Town Clerk.
Okay, so just, Warren, I don't know if do you want to give a little bit of a recap?
A little. We opened the public hearing last time, and the purpose of the local law is to respond to observation that the town has made in a interest in resurgence of artisanal food and craft and other small-scale brewing, winery, and distillery operations throughout the state, the support of those efforts by New York State, and the fact that the town is home to such world-class institutions as the Culinary Institute, many of whom settle in this area and operate their own restaurants and food-related businesses. And the town has felt that it has several former retail facilities and properties that could be repurposed for this type of use. It would be a good use to, it's consistent with the town's comprehensive plan in that it encourages the promotion of tourism and tourism-related businesses as a way of increasing the town's commercial tax base. And this amendment would increase the opportunities for food and beverage related tourism and provide opportunities for job creation through modest scale food and beverage manufacturing in the town. And for this reason, the town felt that it would be in the best interest of the town to adopt the local law which permits this use subject to a, where is the local law? Is it?
It's attached to 2.
It's attached to, yeah. Which would define, it would amend the definitions to include a new definition for a craft brewery, winery, distillery, or food manufacturing facility, and require such a facility to include a public component, such as a tasting room, a restaurant, or a retail establishment. We also point out in the law that this type of use will be classified as a general commercial use for zoning purposes, notwithstanding the definition of light industrial use contained in our existing code, which could be interpreted currently as prohibiting such a use. And we have a definition of a tasting room and a winery, and we have some tweaks made to the off-street parking. So we continued the public hearing. There were, I don't remember there being any comments.
No, there weren't, actually.
And because there was some concern that the town board may want to make some tweaks to the law, but we've decided not to do that, that the law in its present form is fine to go ahead. The only thing that we would need to do tonight, assuming nobody walks in and makes a comment on the law, would be to finish the environmental review, which I could take the board through fairly quickly. And we've prepared a resolution for the board as one of the resolutions to adopt tonight, which would adopt this local law.
Okay, and so we'll do that once we conclude the public hearing.
Correct.
Okay.
Can I just comment quickly about it? I just think it's important for people to understand the way our zoning works is that we really have these sort of broad categories. Like we have general commercial, we have light industrial. There are these kind of broad categories that a lot of different businesses can fit within. And I think sometimes there's a misunderstanding that the town picks and chooses exactly what types of businesses, and it doesn't quite work that way. I mean, we have this general commercial use that's allowed in a lot of different parts of the town. And with this particular use, there was a little ambiguity about whether it fit within the general commercial or the light industrial or some other category. And so this is just really clarifying it for food and beverage production, that if it meets certain criteria, it can fall within general commercial, which opens up some more areas where it's allowed. But I just wanted to make that point because it's not as if this wasn't an allowed use before, or that, you know, we're just picking just one type of use to include. There are lots of different business uses, you know, that are allowed in Hyde Park, pretty much all of them. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear, and I think that I'm very happy that we're doing this law. I think that this type of use is appropriate in along Route 9 where general commercial is permitted, and
I'm glad you clarified that, because it is really one of the tools available to the town board is really to update our zoning through these local laws. And, you know, the town zoning code was passed, I believe, in 2005, I think that's what it was, and it was based on the 1997 comprehensive plan. And you know, a lot has changed in the world since that time, but really, unfortunately, updating your master plan and your zoning documents are very expensive and time involved, and so a way that we can approach that is to amend them to stay current. And I really am very happy that a number of people came to us and you know, made inquiries about, oh, would, you know, a different type of distillery be allowed here in Hyde Park? And it really just prompted us to analyze our law and come up with a tool for clarifying it, because honestly, that works to the benefit of everyone. The developers are looking for clarity. It allows a smoother path, and so I'm pleased with the law, and I'm hoping that we will see some changes in particularly buildings that we know would be well suited to this adaptive reuse. So with that, do we have anyone who would like to make a public comment? Please do, and just state your name, and if you could limit your comments to 3 minutes, that would be
I'm not my boss.
I thought you were going to say
Ron
that.
Hicks, Assistant County Executive for Dutchess County, and former resident, and proud to have grown up in Hyde Park. I just want to thank the supervisor and the town attorney and the town board and the planning staff and the board for taking this proactive approach to help us attract different industries. This is exactly what I think government needs to do, and I appreciate you doing this as opposed to waiting until we may have someone, because as you know, the planning and permitting process is so protracted as it is. So this is really going to be very helpful, help us do our work in attracting industries into Dutchess County, and I just want to thank you.
Well, thank you, Ron. We're so glad that you came and that you support it. And, you know, we always give you guys a shout out. You're wonderful to work with and great asset for Hyde Park. And I know that, you know, at the mayors and supervisors meeting, we often have conversations about what a great support network the county provides to us. And so, like you say, forward thinking and proactive is are the tools that we have to use to attract business to formerly unused sites. So thank you. Okay, would anyone else like to comment? Okay, so may I then have a motion to close the public
I
hearing?
make that motion.
And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And Warren, do you want to go through this right now?
Sure, the town board is already, you should have in front of you the Part 2 and Part 3 of the full environmental assessment form. The Part 1 was accepted by the board, I believe on August 11, 2017. This is really a relatively minor change in the law, with which the actual passing of the law, enactment of the law, will really not have any environmental impacts. It's conceivable that projects may come in that may have some environmental impacts, and those will be analyzed on a case-by-case basis. So for that reason, I took the liberty of filling out the Part 2 of the environmental assessment form, in which I indicated for many of the potential impacts, yes, they may involve physical alteration of land, for example, but the impact would be of the local law would be either none or small. And certainly if an application comes in that involves any of these impacts, that will undergo a full environmental review by the planning board. So with that in mind, and I've taken the liberty of filling out the form just let me know if you disagree with anything. On part one, impact on the land, I've indicated yes, but for all the potential impacts, I've indicated no or small impact may occur. Impacts on surface water, again, yes, but only no or small impacts, no moderate or substantial impacts or large impacts. Same thing for impact on groundwater. No response on impact on flooding, I said no. Can't imagine that any proposed use would have an impact on flooding, so we've indicated that no. Impacts on air, we've indicated no. Impacts on plants or animals, yes, but very small or moderate impact or none. Impact on agricultural resources, we put no because it's, I can't imagine that a facility would, even an adaptive reuse facility or a new facility would be constructed on farmland. But if it is, the planning board could deal with it, but for purposes of the seeker review for this law, we've indicated no. Impact on aesthetic resources, I indicated no. It is possible that a certain project could have some impacts on aesthetic resources, but there'll be a full opportunity to evaluate the impact of the project on its merits. Right now, we don't have any projects before us. 10, impact on historic and archaeological resources. I indicated yes, there's a possibility that it might, but again, indicated no or small impacts. Impact on open space and recreation, I indicated no on that. Impact on critical environmental areas, I indicated no. I don't think we would be doing any of these facilities in or directly adjacent to a critical environmental area. Impact on transportation, I put yes. Again, it might be a small or a no impact. For the law, it's conceivable that a project may come in which could have some impact on transportation depending on the size, scale, and the location. The impact on energy indicated possibly yes, but again, a small or no impact. Impact on noise, odor, and light, I indicated again yes, but very small or no impact of this local law. And the impact on human health, I indicated no. I can't imagine that certainly the local law will not have any impact on human health. It's hard for me to anticipate a facility that would have that type of impact. Consistency with community plans, 17. I believe it is. That language is in the law itself, preamble to the law. And consistency with community character. The law is consistent with that, but again, on a case-by-case basis, there could be an application that might come in that might be inconsistent, and that would be evaluated. So with that, I've gone to the part 3, and even though we've not identified any potential significant impacts, I did include in that a discussion of the proposed local law, which is really very similar to what we have in the law itself and our resolution, and filled out the determination of significance, indicating that the board has determined that this action will not have the potential for any significant environmental impacts, and that a draft environmental impact statement in conjunction with the passage of this local law will not be required. So that's in your resolution. If you agree with that, when you pass the resolution, you'll be passing.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you. So we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which I'd like to invite Larry Turk and Scott up to the table here with the microphones, and we're going to have
over here, Larry.
Yeah, right here, Larry. Yeah, and Scott too, if you'd like, and just a discussion on the basically a public announcement on the increases in the passes for seniors.
No.
That's not it?
No.
Okay, so it's a different topic.
Yep.
I'll let you tell us. Well, thank you for coming and for being great partners for Hyde Park. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Madam Supervisor and Council, for allowing us to be here. So what we're wanting to present to you today.
Yeah, they're turned up tonight or
Yeah,
something.
a little-
Can you
Push
push it away a
Push
little
away
bit?
a little bit.
Yeah.
is that,
Whoa, that was worse.
Sorry.
let me take this one with me.
Oh,
Is that the home of FDR is looking at raising its price, entrance fee price, from $9 a person to $10 a person. In your packet we provided, gives you comparisons of
I'm so sorry.
other local historic homes. Vanderbilt is $10 a person. Eleanor Roosevelt National Historic Site is $10 a person. And so with this increase of $1 from $9 to $10, it gives us some flexibility with tightening budgets to help us maintain and preserve the presidential home and grounds around it. And it would be a significant increase to our fee program for the park. It not only preserve and protect, but also gives us the ability to hire seasonal interpreter staffs and fee collectors. So we're reaching out to the public to get opinions, pro, con, doesn't matter. And then Scott and I also will be holding a public meeting on September 20th at the Wallace Center. So would y'all like to make a comment one way or the other, if you support it or not?
Just because we do have a fairly large audience that watches at home, how would you like comments to come? Would you like them to email you or call you or attend the public meeting? How would you best like to receive that input?
Well, they can attend the public meeting on September 20th at 6 p.m. from 6 to 8 p.m. You can post it on our Home of FDR Facebook page.
Okay.
You can email it to us, or you can also go on to our compliance program, which is short for Pepsi, and there's a section in there where people, as private citizens, can click on and make comments, pro and con.
So if they were to email you, would they just go to the FDR Home and Library website?
Yep.
Is that the best way to,
Yep.
to do that? And then there will be a link where they could give you that
Yep.
feedback? Okay.
When's the last time there was a price increase, do you know?
2013.
2013?
And Larry, I know you come from New Mexico, is that- and so in your experience, are most of the national parks, are the grounds typically free or?
No.
No. There typically is a charge?
Yeah,
for that?
as soon as you enter the park, you're paying.
Right.
So this is really unique for the Park Service to be able to go onto the grounds for free.
I can't tell you how grateful I am for that,
Oh, same here.
and really, it means a lot to Hyde Park that we can walk those grounds, any day, anytime for free, and, that's what so essentially, what you're doing is charging for people to come into the house.
Yes.
And that's something that actually locals don't do that often.
That is correct.
So it's a different place where those revenues will come from, and the ability for, as I said, for the local people to use the parks, it's just an incredible asset for us.
Oh, absolutely. It's very unique to be able to walk these grounds at no cost from sun up to sundown. You just don't see that.
That's what I thought.
And we also have our open houses that you do
Yes.
for the general, for the neighborhoods here, and that's always fantastic and well attended.
Yeah,
And-
we always try to, when there are the free days, we try to make those known to the public also, and get the word out too, so when local people can take advantage of those things.
Oh, we definitely get busy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
in fact, what we've had to do because of the visitation's been so high on the fee-free days is if we've had to move away from the guided tours, and we just open the homes up, and we have rangers stationed throughout the home to be able to answer questions of the public, because we were having to turn so many people away for a guided tour. So yeah, we're definitely seeing the visitation on the fee-free day, which is wonderful.
I know I love them.
Yeah. Well, and it's just such an important part of who we are and our history that it's just wonderful that we see such, engaged people. I was asking my nephews at the high school, and I was asking him yesterday, have you been to the FDR library or home, through school? And he said, oh, not really since elementary school. And I thought, that would be such a great thing for our local high school to be, coming and just going through the home and library on a regular basis. And hopefully they will do that.
Well, we just, in fact, the individual started today. We just hired an education specialist that's going to be putting together a good curriculum. Right now he's going to focus on the new home garden.
Yeah.
But we're really going to be putting a strong effort in getting out into the local schools.
Great.
It's unfortunate, and I've seen this I've worked at 8 national parks now, and I've seen it at every national park. We have people from around the world that come here to see it, but then we have people that these parks are in their backyard and they don't go.
Yeah.
And so we're really going to be putting a lot of emphasis on the local communities and the schools to get them involved in the park. We need to get the younger generation involved.
I love that. And so, yeah, I'm sure that if you were to contact the superintendent of schools or the high school principal, I'm sure they would love to be part of that.
Yeah, we have.
Oh.
We've already reached out to Hyde Park
Wonderful.
School District, and we've got the wheels moving there. So
Wonderful.
And I do know it's part of the 4th grade and 8th grade curriculum to visit a national park. And the high school is really excited about it as well. I went and sat and met with the superintendent, all of the principals at a faculty meeting a few months ago.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Maybe just another thought, Larry. Maybe doing, if it's at all possible, maybe like a Hyde Park resident discount membership. So that way they can bring the family multiple times if they wanted to. I know that there is memberships to the library, but maybe if there was a resident membership, that would maybe bring more people in.
Well, it's something we can look into. Unfortunately, we don't have that kind of flexibility because our fee laws are tied to the national fee laws.
Sure.
But we do have where you can buy a pass just for these specific sites. So do you know the cost of that pass?
It's $40.
So $40 will get you in.
Is that per family or per person?
It's per person, but it also includes the individual pays $40, but it also includes the family.
Oh, it does.
For 1 year.
For 1 year. Okay, that's a good deal.
But just to make it clear, we're talking about just for the FDR home.
That is correct.
Not the library. 'Cause
Not the
they're
library.
two separate
They are two separate.
institutions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which, I didn't know that till a few years back myself.
Yep.
But yeah,
Well, having traveled, around to other national parks, just like you said, just to get in the front gate, you
Yes.
pay
Yep.
per car.
Yep.
And it's an amazing resource, as Aileen said, for Hyde Park families to be able to access the amazing grounds and the river, the river.
And the trail network
access
that we
you
have
have,
through
and the
there.
trail network. I mean, it's just an incredible, free thing that we
Yes.
have here in Hyde Park.
You're
So.
very lucky.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
we know that.
Yeah.
And we do get feedback that people wish that they could access Bard Rock on a very regular basis, and I know we've had that conversation. And is it basically a staffing issue that limits the access?
It's a lot of issues. Some of it is staffing. It's also the type of activities that are taking place down there. So we have increased the access to Bard Rock. It was only 2 days a week, and now, Scott, did we increase it to 3 or 4 days? I don't.
3 days.
3 days a week
Days-
now.
And what days are those? So Tuesday?
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Oh, great.
Right.
Excellent.
Good to know.
So I can tell you a lot of illegal activity was going on down there, and so we do have documentation of that from drugs and prostitution. So that is a lot of the reasoning why we're limiting the access down there.
And that doesn't happen when the access is closed?
That is correct.
That's good, because I walk down there a lot, and
I had no idea. Yeah,
I don't want to go if they're still doing it.
Yep.
That's sad.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
see that you offer group rates, which is a great benefit.
We do. Yep.
Yeah.
I'd just like to point out that the biggest bargain is the senior citizens Golden Pass for $10.
Well, it's not.
Was-
Not anymore.
It's not 10? What is it
It's
now?
nine.
It's $80 now.
Oh, my gosh.
So he takes
Oh,
that back then.
I take that back.
That
When
ended
I
on-
bought mine, it was
Are they
$10.
still
Well,
good,
you
the
still
old
have
ones?
it though, right?
They're still, I
Yeah,
still have it.
you're good.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Well, all
yeah.
right.
Yeah, so that ended on
Actually, I
August
Scotch tape
27th.
it together, but I better make sure that I do something more than that.
Yeah.
But it's, even at $80, it's a tremendous bargain. I mean, you go anywhere and it's free for the rest of your life.
For all the national
All the
parks?
national-
All
That's
417
amazing.
parks. So for about 2 months, because we were really the only park in New York State that was selling that pass. And so we were selling about 200 of those passes a day when it was
Wow.
$10 for the
And
last
so
couple
what
of
are you
months.
selling now?
I don't know if we sold any of the $80.
We sold a few, but the important thing about your pass that you have now is make sure you always keep it because we don't keep a database on any of
Oh.
the passes. So if you go to a national park and you left yours home, they're going to make you pay the $80 again, or you're just going to pay the regular entrance fee.
Entrance
So
fee.
don't ask us to look it up because we just don't keep that kind of records for anybody.
So Scott, what do we do if you have a senior pass that you already have that's dilapidated? Can they turn that in and get a new one?
You can, but
Takes an act.
it's a little bit more complicated. I mean, the
I'll
best
let-
thing is just to Scotch tape it and.
Hold on.
Get it laminated.
I'll let
Yeah,
you
there
know
you go.
because next time we
They are
go to the
mandated.
Cape and there's a lot of national parks. So next time we go up, I'm going to try to see if I can get a brand new one.
We
But
do.
I'll let you know if there's a problem.
We
Yeah.
do have a senior pass that's an annual senior pass, so if you don't want to pay the $80, you can pay $20 for the annual pass.
oh.
And then if you happen to realize, oh, I go to a lot of national parks out there, you can trade that $20 pass in for an $80 one. So instead of paying $80, you'll pay $60 the next time. But you gotta make sure that you bring your $20 pass back to the park because that's what we're gonna ask you for as proof of payment before.
Sure.
And how many people actually keep those things? Not too many, so.
Well, by comparison purposes, I recently joined Mohonk Preserve, and so that's
55
yeah
per person.
per person per year, and so
Just for a year.
for
Yep.
for walking the
Really?
grounds,
Yeah,
and if you want
$55. It's 30
to
per
ride your
visit.
bike, it's another 30.
Right.
You can't pay.
Yeah, so.
And the
so-
Empire Pass is 65, I believe, for the New York State Empire Pass
yeah,
for the
so
park. So
again, we're grateful that
Yes.
we can walk
bet.
freely.
And just,
We
and just
appreciate it.
remember that kids under 15 are always free to all our sites.
kids
Oh,
under
is that
15
so?
are free.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good to know, too. So now, as long as we have you captive, I'm just going to ask for an update on how's the progress on the mansion going in terms of the facade? Is that almost complete, or?
From my last meeting last week, on Wednesday of last week, we're on schedule to be completed with a contractor pulling out on October 13th.
Oh, nice. Wow.
So we're planning on that. So we're planning on the big Christmas gala this year.
Perfect.
We're going to have it really decorated up nice at the Vanderbilt Mansion because it's been 2 years now.
Yes.
So what did you actually do? So you resurfaced the entire exterior? Is that was?
Well, repointed
Repointed.
and cleaned it, redid all of the windows.
Oh, they were new windows then?
Yeah, well, you know, we refurbished them
Oh,
because
wow.
they're historic windows,
Yeah.
so we refurbished them. A lot of, go ahead.
Foundation work.
Foundation work.
Oh, okay.
We also found a lot of neat historic items as we were doing the foundation work
Oh,
that
cool.
we didn't know existed there. So it was much needed work.
Absolutely.
And so it'll look good. And like I says, come out and see us this holiday season and we're going to have it done up nice.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I really want to thank you guys for the Music in the Parks that you allow us to
Isn't
use
that
the
great?
grounds. And it's
Yeah.
just, it's a wonderful thing for our residents, and it's a great partnership, that the town and the National Park Service, because I know you guys use your resources there with your officers and the grounds, and I know I appreciate it, and I believe all of us on the board do, so thank you so much for
Good.
that.
Yeah.
So,
I'd like to make a note on the education part of it. When I was a child, it was quite a while ago, Mrs. Roosevelt, after President Roosevelt died, Mrs. Roosevelt used to come to the local schools and give a talk or read a book, and she did it frequently to all the Hyde Park schools. She also went down there on his birthday, I think, in January, for the March of Dimes, and always took 6 or 7 kids from Hyde Park Elementary with her. And she also brought the dog Fowler and used to let him loose in the school over here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and feed him treats, and it was really nice. But she was very involved in education,
Really?
and she always welcomed people to the big house, they called it.
Well, we're getting involved in education.
Terrific.
And just so you know, we have brought the walk for March of Dimes back to the home of FDR. So they will, on May 20th, Sunday, May 20th, that big fundraising event for the March of Dimes will take place at the home of FDR.
wow,
March, it's in March.
Wonderful.
that's fantastic. Yeah, keep us in.
May 20th?
May 20th,
Oh.
the March of Dimes, yeah.
It always was in the winter times, I remember. I think it was earlier than that.
No, it used to be in March.
April.
Yeah, April, March.
Okay,
Yeah.
it could be, it's still snowing.
Fantastic. Well, thank you.
All right.
Well, thank you,
Thank you.
gentlemen, for coming in. Nice to see you both.
All right.
Take care.
Y'all
Thank
take
you,
care.
guys.
Yeah,
Thank
bye
you
now.
so much.
Okay, so moving on to our next little workshop. It's not going to be, sorry about that feedback. We have a number of things going on in our highway department. We, for the last several years, have shared services with the county highway department by plowing the county roads in Hyde Park, and they are fortunately expressing the desire to do that again. We reached out to the highway super, who supported it as long as we were able to fill a position that had been vacant. So the plan is to go forward with that continued shared service. So does that sound good to everybody?
Sounds good.
I'm going to be,
great.
Warren, I think you reviewed the contract, or you need to do so in the next couple days.
I will do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, last year the county thankfully listened to what municipalities were saying and changed the procedure so that it's a lot less paperwork than
Yeah.
it used to be. It used to be you had to track every hour and every mile and every grain of salt basically, and now it's much more standardized, which makes it much more approachable thing for us.
Yeah, we had a fairly lengthy discussion about it at the mayors and supervisors meeting, and some of the communities, especially the more rural ones, didn't do it because they really would have to hire an additional person to do that, especially because a lot of them are so far in the periphery of their communities that it doesn't really make sense for them to do it. And the other concern that some of the mayors and supervisors expressed was a liability issue in terms of, that the town would be plowing the county roads, and they would have to have the coverage for that, which, I don't really see that as a concern. We checked with our insurance provider, and that it kind of makes sense that we would be providing insurance, being as it's our vehicles and all. So,
And there are certain exemptions in the law from liability for when there's a plowing accident.
yeah,
Not in all cases, but there are certain exemptions too.
yeah. I know that you're actually not responsible to replace mailboxes. Is that right?
I don't know if
we
it
do.
specifically says that.
That's what has been told to me. So, it worked out for our benefit last year. They pay on a per mile basis. And so I think we'll plan on going ahead and appreciate the cooperation of the highway super on that. The second issue that I just wanted to touch on, and I have it under highway, but it's actually a police function, that we are having additional patrols in neighborhoods, especially attentive to speed. And one in particular was in response to West Dorsey Lane, so they're really picking up the patrols there, and we look forward to everyone slowing down. For the last month or so, we've been asking for the speed trailer to be placed there, and I did get an update from the chief today, and basically it was being put back together. It had been out of commission for some time, headed to the painter, and they're doing prep work, and it was delayed because it was really a very small job, and they get deferred to do the larger ones. So we look forward to that being repaired, and we'll be using that throughout the different neighborhoods. But in particular to West Dorsey, which I know Dave and Joe were both working on it, partially because Dorsey is both wards, 2 and 3. So we have a request in to DOT to place no truck signage on the overhanging where the lights are placed. We don't know that they're going to accommodate that. We'd like them to, but they are sending someone to evaluate this Wednesday. And if they don't allow the signs to be suspended from the light devices, then they are going to allow us to put them on 9 and 9G.
That's great.
Not just in the town's right of way, but in their right of way. And, that's a pretty big concession, and we have a very good relationship with DOT. They really work hard to address our needs, and so we should know within the next week or so whether those will be permitted. But if they're not, we're going to put them on the 9 and 9G and be asking the highway super to go ahead and order those that will be recommended by the traffic engineer that we hired. We also ordered 2 children at play signs, and hoping that the highway super will install those as soon as we receive it. And then finally, on September 25th, we'll be having a speed counter installed, and that will produce a report on the volume of traffic and the speed. So there's a lot of different ways that we're trying to address the speeding issue, and once we receive the report from the traffic consultants, I hope to meet with the highway super, and we kind of go through a couple of scenarios and ways to address the speeding.
Yeah, residents, they just think that they can call and say, hey, I like to get the neighborhood slowed down, and we can just go and put up a 20-mile-an-hour speed. I wish it was that simple. I thought the same thing at first.
Sure.
We can't just put up a stop sign or, reduce the speed. There's a lot of moving parts in that.
Even if it's not on a state road.
That's correct.
You still need to have the
So, yeah,
DOT
but you might just want to mention
approval. Yeah, no, thanks, Ken. It's definitely a process, and we work through it, but a lot of times you might not get the approval.
That's right.
Even with the request, because there's a whole bunch of parameters that they're addressing, and
Right.
not necessarily the ones that the neighborhood values. So that's that on that. So
Great.
moving on, I don't know if anyone else has any comments on that. I appreciate your work on it for Dave and Joe, and hopefully we're getting there.
Right.
Okay, so we have a resolution to add at the dais, and that is to set the public hearing on the Community Development Block Grant for 2018.
I make a motion?
And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we have a public comment on the resolutions only. If anyone would like to do that, please join us at the podium. No? Okay.
All righty.
So Emily, would you like to start?
Can I just ask we are going forward with the October 2nd meeting, is that right? That's what we're setting the CDBG public hearing?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
is that okay?
That's fine.
I'm going to be away.
I know, but
you said you can handle
I'll
it.
handle it.
Okay.
All right, just
Yeah,
checking
I
that-
mean, we could.
I wasn't sure if you'd made that final decision, so I didn't want
Yeah.
to schedule it for the...
Well, Donna and I talked about it today. We could have set this for the 25th, done it, but then it just put it a little bit in a cramped timeline, so we decided.
Totally fine.
Is that okay with you?
It's great.
Okay, great.
All right. Resolution 918-1 of 2017, resolution authorizing the town supervisor to authorize Dutchess County to perform on behalf of the town of Hyde Park the completion of the local update of census address review for the upcoming 2020 census.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 918-2, 2017. A resolution adopting local law number 2 of 2017, entitled a local law amending Chapter 108 of the Town Code to permit craft breweries, distilleries, wineries, and food manufacturing facilities.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Oh, do we not need a roll call?
yeah.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead, Donna, sorry.
Councilwoman Svensson.
Aye.
Councilman Ray.
Aye.
Councilman Marine.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye.
Supervisor Rohr.
Aye.
The negative, it's in the resolution, but the negative declaration has to be filed with the environmental.
Okay, so you and I have to sign this,
You have to sign it.
but don't you, as preparer?
Yeah, I can.
Wait, where'd it go? And then Donna
Section
files
1,
it?
Correct?
Well, that's the section 1, but then this one also, I think, has a
There's 2
signature now.
pages.
I don't think so.
I thought I saw it.
Part 3.
Yeah. Right here.
Okay, you can go on.
Did it-
Oh, no, wait, this is not filled, this is not the one that's filled. Go ahead, I'll take it.
Okay, all right. Okay, guys, go ahead.
Okay. Resolution 918-3 of 2017, resolution amending Resolution 828 authorizing Diane Cullen, recreation leader, to carry over accrued vacation time.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye. Resolution 918-4 of 2017, resolution authorizing Kathleen Moss, zoning administrator, to attend the Dutchess County SWCD contractor erosion and sediment control training.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 918-5 of 2017, resolution authorizing Kathleen Moss, zoning administrator, to attend the 17th Annual Southeast New York State Stormwater Conference and Trade Show.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
This is the one added at the dice. Resolution 918-6 of 2017, resolution scheduling a public hearing to discuss the intended use of community development block grant funds for 2018.
And a second? And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So that appears to be it. We do want to mention our Hackett Hill
Fall Fest.
Fall Fest
Yeah.
is coming Saturday from 1 to 4. And so,
I'm not sure, is it 1 to 5?
1 to 5.
oh, it's 1 to 5?
1 to
Oh, okay,
5,
sorry.
yeah.
1 to 5. So I hope to see everyone there. They're going to have a lot of different activities and events for children and adults, and so a lot of information will be set up throughout the site. So the town board will be there actually with our downtown initiative roadshow, and will be so people can stop by and ask us questions about the work we're doing to create a more vibrant commercial center in our town. There's a lot going on. We have a open house scheduled for, is it October 19th?
That's right.
And some various other activities. So please feel free to stop by and talk with us on Saturday. And so with that, may I ask for a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned. October 19th.
Okay, so wait, did I?